Old Achievement Hunter reference. TOP, Tower of Pimps, usually using obsidian and then 4 blocks of gold. I used to always wish I could make one of these with the guys. Now I can't travel. Have fun and watch the episode. I'm here after a quick black interval. That's fine. Hello, welcome to Shit I Need to Know. I need to know a lot of shit because now I'm 18, which is pretty cool. I've noticed a common thing. See this undershirt? I wear this underneath all my school uniforms now, so if I want to go to the bottle later, I can just whip off my school uniform and I'll be fine. Because apparently that's a law. I didn't know that before actually being told that in a Dan Murphy's. Quite interesting. Also, something I want to talk about. I know I'm probably I have no authority to talk about this, but I highly recommend the anime Fire Force. I've only just started watching it, but it is quite good. If you don't have an Anime Lab subscription, just go on there and watch Fire Force. It's cool, along with other animes. Now, today in this show, we're going to be talking about kindness in business and communities and how it can really aid yourself and your business, and also make you a better person. So why not? Today I am talking to Kay Nixon. How are you going, Kay?
Pretty good, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, been a good day or not so much?
It's been a fairly good day. Met lots of nice people.
That's nice. That's fantastic. I guess really what we could first go into is because of COVID hitting us quite suddenly, we knew about it, but it was quite a sudden surprise. How important do you think it is for businesses to have a very well built up community in a time like this?
Yes, it is important to already have relationships with the people that are potentially your customers, particularly as we hadn't been open that long before it happened. We've been open for about 7 months, I think, before it happened. So it's not a long time to establish yourself as a business. But fortunately, being very involved in the community, quite a few people knew us already at the shop, and I knew quite a few people from previous places I'd worked, so that was good. But yes, it did have some impact, but what we had to do then was adapt to the situation, and we decided to stay open because we felt that what we were providing was something that would be really helpful to people who were isolated, who were shut down, and whether it was people just wanting to read a book or people with children at home that needed activities, or families together finding things to do, whether it was like jigsaw puzzles and things like that. It was good to be able to provide those sorts of things. And so we reduced our hours a bit, but we did adapt in the sense that we provided free delivery, because my husband had no work as an actor. Once COVID hit, he was on a film set and then suddenly it was shut down. So what was meant to be a few months of filming ended up being a few months of no work. He was able to do deliveries for me. So we offered free deliveries to people on the Sunshine Coast. So a lot of people that were shut indoors and couldn't come to the shop were able to have deliveries at home, and we could leave things on their front porch and stuff like that, and they could pay over the phone or on the website. And we also had people come into the shop, but we just were careful with social distancing and that sort of thing. So we were able to keep going, but we did have to adapt things quite dramatically.
It's fantastic. I think that is an essential service, because you run a bookshop down in Little Main Street. Would you?
That's right.
Yeah, I'd love to tell everyone about your bookshop, or what it's called, where people can visit, and times and everything.
Well, it's called the Little Book Nook because it is little and it's in a bit of a nook, because it's up the lane in Little Main Street near Homegrown Cafe. And it's We do specialise in children's books because that's my main area of expertise. I've been in the book trade for many years. It was my first job out of uni. I was working in a bookshop in Sydney, and I've done it on and off for a long time now. But we've also got some adult books as well, books for grown-ups, and just a selection of fiction and non-fiction and some of my favourites and things that I think people in our community would like, and new releases and backlists and classics and what have you. So, yes, we're there Tuesday to Saturday. I tend to tie in with closing time with the cafe because it gets fairly quiet in Palmwoods when the cafe's not open. So we're closed on Sunday and Monday, and we shut at 2 most days, but Thursday I stay open until 4, which is what we did originally, stay open until 4, but since COVID, we've just reopened till 4 on Thursdays. So there's a day that people can come that might not be able to get in on the other days, and particularly for teachers because I deal a lot with schools and it's hard for them to get in before, 3:30 really, so they can pop in and I can help them with things too.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's important to have a bookshop in Palmwoods. I've actually never really seen one. And for me personally, I've never actually gotten into reading books. I don't know why. I know it's not a problem with my mind or anything. It's like I just never have been able to read through a whole book unless it was for like school or something like that. So I guess for people like me, how could I get into reading books and stuff like that? Because, it's somewhat fun and I want to.
I usually try to find something that people are passionate about and then find a book about that, whether it's a book perhaps explaining that subject a bit more or a fictional book that's set around that thing that they're passionate about. So say kids are into dinosaurs, I'll find a book about dinosaurs, or if they're teens and there's a certain something they like, and they might be into graphic novels perhaps, might be a bit more something that bridges between doing computer games and books is going into graphic novels, because often you'll find that some are based, or might have started off as a graphic novel and then became a TV series or whatever, or vice versa. And so there's usually areas that can sort of bridge to get people into it. And then once they find something they really love, and that's the key, and that's the thing I really love connecting people with books, is then usually the path just goes on because they find the excitement of going into a whole other world without really having to travel there or be in any danger or spend too much money. You can actually get to walk in someone else's shoes or go somewhere fantastical or somewhere real that you couldn't really go to or whatever. It's just a really cool thing to be able to do. I love it. I find it really enriches my life. It's great.
I have to come down soon, actually. Maybe this Saturday. See what I'm doing. Pop down for a visit. Because I love the shop. It's so nice. It's so beautiful. It's so cozy. I remember the first time I came in, it felt so much, I don't know, it's so cozy. Because I remember when Ben and Renee were in there, it was like, it's big because I don't know how they did it, but I just love how cozy it is in there. It's so beautiful.
Well, I wanted to make it more than just a shop, to make it a destination, to make it enchanting. And just last week a lady came in and she said, and she was probably about my age, and she said, I feel like I'm 5 again. When she came into the shop, she said, I don't want to come up to the grown-up section yet. I just want to stay in the kids section and be a child again. And because we have things like the flying books and things like that, she felt that way. And it's lovely getting to talk to people like that feel that way. And I think that's something that's really important to me in the shop, is building up relationships and getting to know people. It's just something I love to do anyway in the community. And the bookshop gives you an extra opportunity to do that, because once you start talking about books, you get to talk to people on a deeper level than you would normally perhaps in retail. So you get to have a relationship with that person, and then I can get books in that suit those people that I get to know, and that's helping them, but it's also, enriching my life as well, and it's just something that I feel is worthwhile and helpful to people.
I feel there's such a almost disconnect with us young people and books and stuff like that. It's like, it's so weird because, we're so consumed by media and everything like that. Now I know that there's a little problem with the ATEM. If you just press run to B. So go press space. Yes. Now go B. Just B. B on the. Okay, I'm just gonna keep on talking. He's gonna figure it all out. We're having some interesting camera stuff going on. It's alright. I actually dealt with this yesterday. So I feel like with us young people, we've got almost such a disconnect with books, and it's very important for us to start to read more. What do you think?
I think there was a bit of a gap there for a while when technology sort of just really skyrocketed, and people, there was a whole new world and quite consuming. But I think there's been a redress back into reading for young kids. In fact, in Australia, the highest number of book sales are for children. And so that area is really growing. And you'll find lots of Australian comedians, for example, and actors are now bringing out children's books because they're so popular. And people have just, and also the research has come in now. It's not just that people thought that maybe too much technology can be damaging, but it's actually been found now that it is damaging to the brain to rely too much on technology. It has its place and it's really, really good in so many ways, but there's also a need to unplug, and just picking up a book is, downtime. It's and whether it's picking up a book or going out in the garden or whatever, there's a need for time away from technology as well, that it's really good for our brain and just for our creativity and all of other things too. So, yeah, I think more children are getting back into reading, and there's been a big push for written to show it as cool, that it's not just something for nerds, that it's something that everyone can get into and have fun with, and it's not just studious perhaps, as some people might think. So, yeah.
The first comedian which I really saw doing all the book writing was Ando. I remember reading his book about coming over from Vietnam as a kid and like his whole life story. I loved that story. We did that for school, but instead of like reading it as a school project, I just loved reading that book. It was like the first book that I just wanted to pick up and read, because I just found like he's got such a fascinating story, and he's branched off to doing some fantastic children's books. It was quite
very prolific. Yes, there's no stopping him. He's got lots of really popular series, and the kids are hanging out for the next one in each one of them. And it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of heart in his writing as well. And I think that's something which I think is interesting when you were talking about the theme of kindness too, that there's a lot of books coming out about kindness now for kids. And I think that's really cool to think that's a thing that the schools are pushing, and talking to various people in schools lately, that's been a really important theme. And yes, I think that's great that we're, like little board books from very young children are being taught about kindness and how important that is. And I that just really warms my heart, because, if we don't have community and connectivity, what have we got? And I think people have found that even more during COVID, where we took for granted a lot of our relationships and connectivity with other people. Once it was cut off from us, we realised, hey, I'm really missing being able to connect with people, and that's something special, and perhaps I need to work more at my relationships. And there's real value in that. And Palmwoods is, I think Palmwoods before COVID though was intentional at working community for the last 10 years. It's really, really worked at it, and it's paying off. That's why it's become such a popular destination. People feel that when they come to Palmwoods. They feel that vibe when they come to sit out in the lane, homegrown, or come to the bookshop and go to the community garden, or go to things at the hall or wherever. They feel that there is that desire for people to work together as a community and see the benefits of that. It doesn't just happen naturally. You do have to be intentional about it. But what you get back is tenfold for what you put in, isn't it? Absolutely important.
Yeah, it's really like bringing it back to community in business. So you wouldn't have such a lovely place as Palmwoods if all the businesses weren't focused on community. I guess, it's like, I feel that would you say that can excel a business or really help it out in a community sense? Like and it is kind of a rephrase of the first question. It's like, how important is it, I guess?
Well, for me, it's an intrinsic human need to connect with people. Community is really important, and I've read lots of books about it, and lots of sociologists, people like Hugh Mackay, are specialists on that, and show that the happiest people in the world are people who are involved in their community and care for other people and don't just focus on themselves. And it just seems to be better for your mind, for your soul, for your well-being overall. And when businesses work at that, then the other things fall into place. Because I think too often, whether it's in business or organisations, even government, if our main drive is economy, if our main drive is to make money in life, we've lost the plot. That should be the means to the end. It should be, we might want to be sustainable for what we're doing, but that should not be our goal. It should just, it really concerns me when we have elections and things and people just keep going on about the economy. The economy is the means by which you achieve what you should achieve, but it shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to care for people, to care for the environment, to care for all the living things around us and to be supportive. And being part of a community is that it's when one person hurts, other people hurt, and when one person celebrates and others celebrate with them, and just sharing things. Not thinking we all have to have our own thing, but sharing things out. I thought it was great when in Palmwoods they had, for example, someone putting up that had a Facebook page where they had things that people could share, whether like someone had a trailer and, we don't all need to have a trailer or we don't all need to have some tools. If we can share those things, then it makes a lot more sense instead of just being consumers, where people who are working together to help each other. And just being consumers and being selfish has caused a lot of problems in the world at the moment with climate issues and pollution and waste. But there is a better way, and I think it's all linked in. It's all community. It's connectedness, it's being part of a bigger picture, having responsibility, a broader responsibility than just your own little bubble. I don't know. It's a shame that some people, not as much in Australia, but particularly in countries like America and some countries, you hear them whenever you talk about sharing out wealth or sharing out things, they panic because they think, it's communism and socialism. Instead of just thinking of it as kindness, as sharing. If we use different terminology, maybe people would see actually it's just a basic human thing we should do. And I just think it's a better way to live and a more enriching way to live, whether it's in business or your private life or whatever, your leisure time. We do need time out on our own, but the more that we can connect with other people, the more that fear is reduced too. That's another thing, and trust is developed, and trust is really important.
Yeah, it really, I feel like now more than ever we need the most kindness that we could ever show, because that is really how we're going to make this place a better place, really. And I feel like you brought up so many great points there, like how so many people are, they don't really fully understand what kindness is. They just think that, I have to get rid of everything or something like that. They take it to that extreme level, and really is, if you show kindness, then you will get kindness back, and it will just create a better community in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think people are surprised when they connect with people, with others, particularly people outside your key group, that you might naturally hang out with, and just the way that your life can get enriched when I talk to people of all different ages that come into the shop, and And I find it great seeing young kids come in and getting excited and encouraging them to enjoy being in the shop. And then elderly people who are still really enjoying life and wanting to read things and learn things. I get really excited when people who you might think would be fairly closed is probably the wrong word, but have very set ideas in their time in life, that are coming in and wanting to read books on current issues that would probably, shake some of the foundations of what they were taught when they were at school, things about Indigenous issues or anti-discrimination stuff or Black Lives Matter or whatever it might be. Seeing people wanting to read books about those things, to learn about other people's journeys and educate themselves, even when they're in their latter years, I find that really exciting, because I think that's how change happens, and good change. When people think they've learned everything, then what's the point of being here? We've always got more to learn, and it's through education, through reading, through learning, whether it's reading or other ways that we learn, but it's also through relationships. In fact, even more so, because if you've got a set idea about something and then you meet someone who perhaps is from a group that you might have prejudged, then often your prejudice is shattered, because you get to know them personally and relationships build up. And, well, I thought, you're sort of this, but actually you're like this, and so in community you can do that. You can build up relationships and it just starts to bring down some of those walls between us perhaps that have developed. So it's good for so many reasons.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kay. And I think that, it's been very insightful to hear you speak about how important community is. And realistically, if we want to put this into business sense, I think that you will improve a lot if you focus more on your not only customers, but your community. Really try and make them happy and, fulfilled, and not focusing on money. Just focus on how you make people feel. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kay, and thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this episode. I'll see you next week, where I will be talking about God knows what. I don't know. Here's my cat. You can't see her right now. I'm not going to get you to cut there either. And we'll see you in the next episode. Oh, there we go. All right. See you in the next episode, everybody. Well, that was a very interesting episode, wasn't it? Now I think it's time for you to continue scrolling on Facebook. I just really I like talking about that. It was a nice contrast from all the other people I've been talking to about like money and business and everything. I think it's good to talk about what does community have to bring into this, or what does that all mean, and it's been very good.
Oh, well, thank you for the opportunity.
That's all right.
Thanks for doing.
Yeah, thanks for joining.